Hey everyone, welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Che Reyna. Could you imagine your car getting up and disappearing on you out of nowhere? You would be putting up multi-$1,000 missing posters. I know car insurance covers break-ins and crashes, but I don't think it covers your car deciding just to get up and leave. There's no sort of insurance for that. Like, dude, I thought we had a special bond. You got me to work on time and I changed your oil almost always on time. Did the past 100,000 kilometers mean nothing to you? I mean, I've had a lot of bad breakups, but never one that would cost me a down payment. The worst I've lost ever is like a few sweaters and a copy of The Big Lebowski on Blu-ray. At least I know she had good taste. Well, some of us out there aren't that lucky, and that's why I'm bringing you today's list of top 10 mysterious cars that left their owners. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Also, if you need more Most Amazing Top 10 content, be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook. It's a great way to get to know myself and the other hosts just a little bit better. And you guys are going to want to stick around for the whole list because I've got some stories on here that surprised even me. And I spend all day looking at content for top 10 lists, so it's pretty hard to do that. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. At number 10 we have the Jaguar XJ220. This is a beast of automotive engineering. It's absolutely beautiful. This thing looks like a car that you could race James Bond in and destroy him while stealing his girls and making sure that the bad guys win the day. I'm not a car guy, but you can't argue that this car isn't sexy. It's so sexy. It's sexy like ScarJo with red hair packed into a tight leather one piece trying to save the world. If you were lucky enough to ever get your hands on one of these bad boys, it would be the last thing you would want to lose. Well, one of these was found abandoned in a desert in Qatar. Someone snagged a picture of the car and car junkies started to lose their mind over the mystery of how such a beautiful piece of art ended up a pile of junk covered in sand. One explanation is some rich guy bought it and they didn't want it, so he just left it in a desert. But there was only 281 models of this car, so even if you're a rich punk who's terrible at recycling, you would still want to hold on to this thing just for your collection. And on top of that, it only had 1,000 kilometers on it. It seems like the car almost walked away on its own to live a life of solitude in the desert, just like Car Jesus. At number 9 we have the 1933 Plymouth Roadster. This car is an old school gem. It's kind of like the 70-year-old dude at the family get-together who has crazy stories of partying with Mick Jagger and doing body shots off Madonna. This Plymouth Roadster is sleek as hell. Just looking at it makes me want to drag race with some dudes with greased hair and then go get a milkshake at Pop's Diner. Well, it would make me want to do that if I wasn't black. I would rather not travel back in time to the 30s, thank you very much. But even though this car is fire, one of them, along with 10 other rare cars, was found in the basement of a house during a demolition. David Mount was doing a demo job in North Carolina and dug up a treasure chest of classic cars. On top of the 11 cars he found tucked away in the basement, there were even more buried around the property. The owner of the property just let David have them. Why would this guy give away all these classic cars? Well, I don't have the answers. This is a mystery list. Come on, guys. At number 8 we have Rolls-Royce Centurion. You know this car, you love this car, and if you don't know it, you're kind of a pleb. This car is meant to symbolize the peak of luxury. This is like getting a massage from the world's greatest physiotherapist while someone feeds you caviar. It's a car that says, I don't know how to drive because I get driven everywhere, and then I laugh while drinking champagne. So why was one of these cars found next to some railroad tracks in Russia? A picture of an abandoned Centurion was flying through the interweb and people started freaking out. And it's rightly so, because this car will run you $350,000. And it wasn't long after this car was spotted that it disappeared from the railroad tracks. So who owned it previously and where did it end up? Who came through and scooped it? These are the mysteries I come to bring you guys. At number 7 we have Russian construction vehicles. If you were to venture through the forests of Russia or Siberia, then you might come across what looks like a vehicle graveyard. After the fall of the Soviet Union, mass production of cars and other vehicles was halted. No one had any money to buy cars, so there was no need to make cars. The Russian government took charge of clearing them all out and piled them in massive junkyards. It's a mysterious sight, seeing miles upon miles of broken down cars. Why were each one of these cars left behind? Maybe some of them never had owners, or maybe some of them were stolen from other people and then sold so you could have a little bit of scratch to get by in the oppression. At number 6 we have a Maybach. If you're working security at a parking garage, you should keep your eyes open for some cars that have been left behind because you might be sitting on a gold mine. A picture in 2012 of a Maybach started a frenzy. This car was sitting in a parking garage in France covered in dust and it hadn't been moved for months. This Maybach would run you around 400,000 euros and it kicks off with 550 horsepower. The mystery was never solved as to why this car was left, but a lot of people believe that maybe the owner was arrested or maybe even killed. At number 5 we have a 1929 racing Bentley. I know this thing is fast, but I wouldn't let it get away from me. I hate myself for that joke. Back in 2011, a group of explorers were checking out some old abandoned homes in Surrey, England. I think they expected to find rats and black mold, but what they came across was something a lot more valuable than a lung infection. They found an old as hell racing Bentley tucked away in a barn. These cars were previously used to win the Le Mans races, and the car that they found was in extremely good condition. It's thought that the owner of the car may have died or the car was stolen, and the price tag on this thing is around $400,000. Kind of where all these cars are sitting right now. At number 4 we have the Aston Martin DB4. Yeah, this is the car that James Bond drives in all the movies. Although it didn't come with machine guns under the headlights. I think that's something you need to install on your own. But back in the 70s, an American entrepreneur got his hands on one of these bad boys and parked it outside his house, and then it never moved again. Eventually someone discovered the car and was able to identify that no one was there to take care of it. The thing that really blows my mind about this find is, where did this guy go? Was he left behind or did the car leave him? And the car was run down, rusted, it could not be driven. Like, the thing was literally falling apart and it was still worth over $300,000. A broken down car that can't be driven. It can't do the one thing that cars are supposed to do, and it's worth more than me and all my friends. At number 3 we have a Ferrari F50. It was only a matter of time before we made our way to a Ferrari. They're one of the most famous cars in the world, and they also make clothing for guys who think chin straps are fashionable. This Ferrari was found in the Ibadan desert in Nigeria, beaten to hell, and these cars aren't easily replaced. There are only 349 in the wild, and they are considered a collector's dream. Anyone who wants to have an exclusive car collection wants one of these in their lineup. These cars are so rare that if anyone tries to sell one from their collection, it can run as high as $2 million. That's $2 million for a used car. A used car that moves so fast it's not even good for driving on anything other than a racetrack. I wonder what it's like to spend $2 million on something just so you can look at it. Must be nice. At number 2 we have the Lamborghini MERAS. This is one of the classic Lambos. When you picture an old school race car, this is the vehicle that comes to mind. One of these iconic roadsters was bought for a man known as the Greek Elvis. He's like regular Elvis but has a lot more body hair and smells like feta cheese. This guy loved his exclusive car but drove it a little too hard and then had to take it in for repairs. He took it to the Hilton in Athens, parked it in a basement, got in a disagreement with the people at Lamborghini, and then left the car there. This was back in 1969 and the car stayed there for 30 years. Eventually someone took it, fixed it up, and then sold it at auction for almost $500,000. And for our number 1 spot we have a Ferrari 459 GT. Alright guys, for this last one we have the most mysterious story I could find. So this mysterious car has all the pieces of the other car stories on this list. It has a big price tag, it was a pretty exclusive car, and it was found in the middle of nowhere. This one being in the back streets of Japan. What separates this one from the rest is a few key details. The car was found with someone's belongings inside of it, as if the person left the car in a hurry, or as if the car left him behind, like the title implies from this video. Also, the car was a custom job. It had a custom gear shift and custom spokes. Why would someone go to so much effort to have this car specifically made just to leave it out to break down and rust away? And lastly, they ran the license plates but they couldn't connect it to any person. Who owned this car? Alright everyone, that is our list, and I hope you all had a great time watching the video. If you guys had a good time and haven't done this already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. And I know a bunch of you at home are dying for more Most Amazing Top 10 content, but you probably don't know where to get it. Well, go check us out on Instagram and Facebook because there's even more Top 10 content over there for you guys. Until next time, I've been JAGUAR, and it looks like I'm going to be riding the bus from now on.